Hey everybody, welcome to the VR Game Nights where we get together and talk about all of this week's gaming news as it pertains to virtual reality. And tonight I'm joined by my co-host, Sir Aga. How you doing, Agascocles?
Good, man. How are you?
Doing great. Had a good time in Bridge Crew tonight with Downriver Rat.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, it's funny because I'm watching the VR news all week, and it seems like Wednesday, the day we record this, like there's always like some bombshells that come out. So it's like I've learned that right before the show I have to check the news. But in any case, this first story we're going to talk about is something that you and I had been talking about, and I think it's a very positive development, and it's what they call OpenXR 1.0. And I'm just going to bring up the little chart here from this article. Now, if this is the first time you watch, we include links to every single article in the description of the video. So whether you're at vrgamenights.com or on the YouTube channel, all the links are there. So don't feel like you have to take any notes. But if you look at this, right, and some of this is kind of fallen off of the screen here, but basically what you're seeing is today you pretty much when you develop, you choose, the development package you're going to use, Unity, Unreal, something else, right? And then you have to choose your end target device, whether it be Steam VR, Windows Mixed Reality, Oculus, whatever. And so what um, OpenXR does, let me shrink this down here. Basically, it allows you to develop for OpenXR, and then you can target it to, basically you're able to target all headsets. So really should make the development work that that these studios have to do. It should make it a lot easier. And all the big names are on board with this. So it's not like Blu-ray versus HD DVD. This should really be um, a tool for definitely PC gaming. I don't know how mobile's going to fit into it because the Quest. I don't see, is the Quest going to be part of this or not? Probably will be.
Yeah, with this, I mean, it may not be exact because I kind of feel like DirectX must also be in this technology stack as well. But essentially, to simplify things, I would say people can think about this as this is DirectX for VR.
Yeah,
It is an intermediary layer that provides connection points and facilitates a lot of the development by doing some of the work, kind of you know pre-staged or preliminary work of building out standardized interfaces so that your application can kind of sit on top of that, and therefore there are essential elements of the interface that you don't need to code and interact with between this. I hate to use the term middleware because sometimes that's also not applied correctly, but again, to simplify the conversation, you can think of it as middleware that interacts with the operating system and other things below it so that you don't have to worry about it.
absolutely. Sorry, I just took a drink of my caffeine free because it's very late here. Caffeine free Coca-Cola. Um, I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to hearing, how that's gonna, um, speed up development because, like one of my favorite games, Cottage Chronicles, developed by three people. It has a three-person development team. It's a great game, um, but if you only have three people, right? Anything that speeds it up and makes it easier and more intuitive is super helpful. Our next story tonight is, and this is kind of the other side of it, right? This is the WebXR, um, but more specifically, this is Firefox has really jumped in, and I don't know of another browser that's really pushing to be the secure VR web browser. And they just came out on the Oculus Quest. I don't know about Sir Aga. Have you seen anybody else fighting for this space? These are the only guys I see fighting for it.
Well, I mean, we know that that Facebook is working on something similar, right? Because they want an ability for you to simply interact with, well, let's say Facebook, meaning Oculus. They want a way for you to interact with the web browser. So I guess maybe if this is what they've done, then I guess not. I have thought that they were targeting Chrome originally, so I don't know if this is a shift or a parallel development that's going on. Um, but no, I mean, just as far as if we assume that this is a thing done between Mozilla and Oculus, no, I don't know of anybody else kind of trying to get this done.
Yeah, so they came to the PC headsets first, and now they jumped on the Oculus, which is the Oculus Quest, which brings us to a next story, right? Why would they do that? Why would they spend development time to come to the Quest? Well, if Mr. Zuckerberg is to be believed, um, they're selling them as fast as they can make them. Apparently, they're having a lot of stockouts at stores. Retailers are running low, um, and I I think to it, so VR is great. VR that you can just grab and go is also great. So
It's huge. I mean, so you have the Quest.
yes, yep.
I guess I want to ask in the conduct of this conversation on this news article because there are some things that I say based on just a mathematical assumption of what must be true. Now, despite its conveniences and despite the power and flexibility, would you say that at the end of the day, however, your Oculus and do you have another? And well, I guess I wouldn't put Windows mixed reality headsets in there, but would you say that your Oculus is the more powerful headset, though?
Well, yeah, definitely. You'll definitely see, like, if you play Robo Recall on your Rift versus your Quest, you can instantly see the difference.
Right, right,
Okay,
right.
but I think that's almost comparing. When do you game on your tablet, your phone, or your, I don't know, your Switch, right? It's typically not the same time when you're gaming on your PC. So to me, gaming on the PC is like a scheduled, very scheduled event, right?
Yeah.
It's
Right,
like
right, right.
I need to have the room. I need that room to be quiet. And I need it to be cool. It's summertime, so I have to make sure I have the AC on. And I have the big monitor. I get the big computer. I get all these different things that need to be connected to it. It's a production, right?
It's a heavyweight. It's a heavyweight um, activity versus a lightweight activity. It is not grab and go.
It's
And
it's it's cooking on the grill, cooking a burger on the grill versus Thanksgiving dinner.
right, I was thinking cooking it on the grill versus using your George Foreman
I don't
was
have
what I
one,
thought you were
so
going. So, yeah. So okay. So just to completely now, right? So cooking on the grill for me is a if I'm going to do that, that's a really big thing. Like I go and I buy like a few different types of meat. I'm out there for a few hours, but and that's a weekend thing. But if I just want to make like a burger or two burgers, I just take two patties and I throw them on the George Foreman grill, right? And that's kind of what this is to
great.
me.
Yeah,
So but where I get concerned about like a news article like this and the way it gets picked up and the way normals think about it, right? What I worry about is that people walk away with this thing that you know, oh, Facebook can't make Oculus Quest fast enough. It's like the best VR headset, and I'm like, well, it's the most mobile and the most flexible, and it's the most pick up and go, and there's power in that experience, but raw compute, right? That's a different thing. You want to play your Elite
absolutely.
Dangerous, you want to play your flight sims, you want to play your heavyweight stuff. That's not your experience. I get concerned that this kind of a thing walks away to people going, well, VR didn't get good until Facebook made the Quest, and I'd be like, well, hold on a second, right? The Quest is a very enabling device in that it puts the device in people's hands and removes the barrier of needing to have a 3.2 gigahertz quad core or octa core CPU with 32 gigabyte, blah 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 blah. Um, and so that is empowering. I just I don't know. I hope we keep the story straight as time goes on.
I think if we rewind, you know, a few years or several years, it would be the person who's a Sony PlayStation 3. Totally, that's their gaming platform. They would be a Vita customer. Why would they buy a Vita, right? Hey, I get free games. It's part of my subscription. It's ties into, even though it doesn't play all the same games. Not everything was cross buy, but it's like I'm not going to take my PlayStation 3 with me on the train, right? And
Right,
so
right, right,
that
right.
to me, the Quest is to the Rift that the Vita was to the PlayStation, and um,
Right,
and I think it's a very good analogy. Those people who love VR, really, and the Go is a good system too. It's just not 6 degrees, right?
right,
It's just you're not going to go pull the cars out of the garage and play Vader Immortal because
right,
you don't have 6 degrees of freedom.
right. My thing with this is that this is a great news story and it's a good news story. I just want to true it up because the problem is you'll get a lot of people getting the Quest who don't. First of all, they don't know the difference between that headset and other VR headsets. But even furthermore, they won't even know. Like I think, despite the fact that a lot of people stood around in the vicinity of the Oculus Rift like storyline, through its Kickstarter campaign and all that kind of stuff, I almost feel like this year, if you go out and ask a bunch of normals, hey, are you getting, a VR headset or the VR headset? Most of them will talk about the Quest, and most of them will by now have forgotten about the Rift or won't understand the difference, right? Or certainly won't know about, the HTC or Valve. So it's one of those cautionary things where, as a thing becomes popular and normals get a hold of it, its value and the awareness of the things that are actually more powerful than it, right? Become diluted,
Yeah, and
right?
and and, and that's quite honestly, that's a question that gets asked several times a day over at Reddit/virtual reality, and I don't even reply to those anymore because the question's been beaten to death. Um, but new people, they come in, they say, I got this question, they post it. I don't blame them for posting it, but it's like, look, it's very easy. The highest end PC VR headset is the Index. The low end is the Rift S, and we really don't know if there's anything in the middle right now. But as far as it stands today, if you want PC gaming, that's what you do. If you want mobile, really, I think the only mid-level mobile platform is the Quest, and you have some low end platforms like the Go. As far as the Gear, the Samsung Gear and Daydream, they've both been out of the news, just like Windows Mixed Reality has. We were talking about Windows Mixed Reality a lot earlier in the year and late last year because they were on sale. But I mean, crickets from those camps. I do think there's a surprise coming this fall from Samsung. So they have the best. I mean, they have the Odyssey Plus. It's been on sale a couple more times for $300. I didn't take the plunge, but just because with the Rift S at 400, I'm hoping somebody trumps that at 500. So I'll save my 300. But there is one more headset. There is one more headset that we know is coming out soon, and that is the Cosmos. And to keep the buzz going, they just released 3 new videos. They basically just showing off what it looks like. This is a great article over at Road to VR. Again, all the links are in the show notes in the description. But there's a lot of buzz about these videos. Basically, they just show off the controllers, the flip up design, the ergonomics. So we don't know how much is this going to be $800? I don't think it's. I don't think it's. I don't know. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah,
If it is $800, does it differentiate itself enough from the Index?
right. I don't. I mean, maybe I'm not answering the question you're actually answering. I don't think it's going to be $800. I think at most it's going to be 500. Now, HTC in the past, when you talk about their phone division, has shown an inability to grasp and understand their place in the market compared to other products, right? They would constantly come out with their phones being priced almost as much as a Galaxy, without understanding, like, your phone. And it was a shame because the phones were good and they were comparable maybe to a Galaxy, but they just didn't hold enough cachet to warrant that attention, right? So so I would want them to understand, hey, your tech might be a skosh bit better than Rift S, right? But it's in areas that not necessarily everybody's going to grasp and extract, like understand the value position of that. Your tech's definitely not as good. Even if your tech is as good, you just can't be priced the same as the index. Like you can't, like you don't hold, like you don't hold that level of prestige. Um, and so I think the only thing they can do is at best is put it at 500. Maybe they can get away with 6, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's what I was thinking too. 599 is max. I honestly think it's going to be 799. And I don't think if you're going to go 800, why not just spend $1,000? You get
right,
the Knuckles controllers. You get even though I don't like the idea of having things mounted to my walls, you could set them up in a very large area, you know. But I you know, 599 max. The only difference between it and the Rift, right? For all intents and purposes, is slightly better graphics and over-the-air headphones. So that's not worth more than $200.
right. And I think what's going to happen, and again, I still don't get it. Like I haven't seen or heard anything from Valve Index that makes me go, oh, this is the market killer. Like clearly, like the sales numbers keep getting touted, but I don't hear or see a steady drumbeat of like, here's this game and it's only at its best on the Valve Index. I don't know. It gives other headsets like a performance problem. However, I think in this period of a short horizon, I think the reality is that a lot of people are going to look at the Valve Index and go, essentially, that's that's a that's a first party device. Like the people who make the content that go on that device are launching their own device. Whereas HTC, like, and I know that the stores are viable. However, the the Vive, I can Viveport and the Rift store are just not where I spend the majority of my time looking for content. I go to Steam, and now Steam has its own headset, so it's gonna feel like, or it does feel like, it's the same as Sony, right? Making, it's the equivalent of the PlayStation plus first party titles,
Yep.
and admittedly, most of the content in the Valve in Steam isn't first party, but it's still you're going to feel more like you're buying a thing within its own ecosystem. Um,
I just think there's two and I know a lot of people have the index and they love it, but I still think there's two problems. The resolution isn't high enough, and even they tout the 120 hertz. High-end video cards have a hard time feeding it. You know the full resolution images at 120 hertz. So it's it's definitely a premier product today. To me, it's not where I would upgrade. I mean, I almost think I'm going to wait for a new HMD until I get a new video card and something after the supers, because the growth, we've plotted this out. The frames per second growth is there's no Moore's law here when it comes to frames per second. It's sad.
well, and I would say it's a premier priced product. I still don't necessarily get how how is that thing $600 more of VR than the Rift S? Like I don't know. So I guess maybe that's the one edge, of the envelope where HTC could push. HTC could gamble, and they could say, in short order, the myth of the Valve Index is going to be proven, right? In short order, there's going to be enough people who go, this isn't giving me some like incredibly greater VR experience than Rift S, and they could take that gamble and say, therefore, we're going to go ahead and price at $699, because once Index hits that kind of event horizon, they're going to have to come down to where we are, and by that time we'll have already established some competitive foothold at that pricing tier.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah. I still think, as disappointed as I was with the Rift S, I still think it's the best today, 2019, the best entry level PC VR headset available. Um, I know Downriver Rat just picked one up. He loves it. So, um, that brings me to this next story, talking about futures. I think we've all heard of Toby before, and this news is just recent about how they're licensing out the eye tracking. Um, so eye tracking to enable um, the foveated rendering. So in other words, they tell the system where you're looking, so it only renders where you're looking at high resolution, and everything else it can be at lower resolution. And the key takeaway away from this is, and I have a hard time understanding if they really mean this number, but it reduces the load on the graphics card by 50% by having this variable, foveated rendering. Excuse me. Now, I've seen a lot of people recently showing the two displays where there's a low resolution display, and then they try to move a high resolution display around where your eyeball's looking mechanically, right? I mean, it's a miracle they get it to work, and it's amazing. But it would be so much better not to have two displays. You know what I'm saying? Um, if we don't have to, if we can render 75% of the display at a lower resolution, right? We can take some of those horsepowers to track where the eye's looking. You know what I'm saying? Not have to physically, manually try to. I mean, imagine that little servo system has to track your eye and be as fast as your eye. That's crazy. But I thought this was very interesting, and probably seeing now. This is in the Vive Eye Pro or eye tracking, the Vive Pro. Is it the Vive Eye Pro or Pro Eye? I don't. But it's the Vive Pro with the eye tracking. Um, but it'll be great to see if this ends up in more headsets next year. But I don't know. Over 50% seems like a lot of savings.
Yeah, and so this reads to me a little bit like it's base F. They don't make your cassettes. They make your cassette sound better. Um, so yeah, I mean it's possible. I mean this might become a thing like PhysX or
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but there was a GPU company called uh, was it S3? I can't remember if they were called. I think they were called S3, and I think
Yep.
their card was the Savage. I think was what it was.
Yeah.
Um, and I think their technology was Savage 3D. Those guys eventually got bought. I think they got bought. They either got bought by Voodoo, and then the remnants of Voodoo got bought by Nvidia. Um, yeah, I think that's what happened. So, or S3 Metal 3D may have been the name, but at any rate, um, my point is what could happen is this could get um, picked up by somebody, and what we might see it get folded into all of the headsets
Yep.
as just part of an implementation standard, or maybe it'll be. I don't have a sense yet for how. And I forgot. I closed the first article. Was that OpenRX?
OpenXR.
OpenXR. Um, would something like this potentially eventually wind up being absorbed by the standards body, and then it winds up being everywhere? Because until then, it just seems it's a differentiator, possibly. I guess if you license this tech, um, yeah. So, but we, we would get bigger uptake if this winds up just being subsumed into the standard, which I feel like would be its best play overall.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if somebody can build what Toby does without Toby, right? So if somebody can say, look, we could that's not difficult, we can do it ourselves. But if it's a SoC, if it's something that's done on a chip, you know, where they sell the sensors that go to their chip that then gives output directly to your your device, whether it be mobile or PC. That just takes if it's inexpensive. I mean, look at when companies first came out with the cameras for the phones. Pretty much all the phone manufacturers just gobble them up, and
Right.
over time people started making their own cameras. Just look at what Apple's done with theirs, and people started working with OEMs to get like the camera they wanted for their phone. But
Right.
this
Right.
could be gobbled up as just one of those one of those chips they have to put in. You know, um, something that got me excited today, and it turned out not to be too exciting for me because I live in the boondocks. Um, was this story here? I gotta find my mouse. Um, this story, a new Star Trek free roaming experience called Away Mission,
Huh.
and I'm like, five people can play this at a time, because
No.
we play Bridge Crew tonight, and
Right.
actually, and that's a four-player game. Actually, I'm gonna try to mute this video. It's not five-player, it's six-player. Let's see if I can get see if they show it here. But so I was all excited about this until I realized that this is only a location-based game. So it's not something that you'll be able to play at home. But all right, so the video's not playing. But yeah, so it sounded really fun. Think about Star Trek. You're free roaming with five of your best friends, doing away missions. You know, Bridge Crew is great, but you're stuck in your chair. This would kind of be
Right.
like No Man's
Right.
Sky, and could be like No Man's Sky in VR, right? Um,
Right. Right.
but yeah, I don't. Do you have any of those location-based VR places near you? Because I mean, I'm in the Berkshires, so there's nothing up here.
Um. I'm. I don't know. I don't. I don't know. I'm pretty sure that there would be. I'm thinking of like Pokemon Go. I'm sure that I have, some Pokemon like sites or whatever
Sure,
out in my town.
but you don't have like a big VR arcade at your mall.
No, no,
Okay,
no, no, no. We don't even
like
have them all. So
yeah, no, I hear you. They're all dying. Um, because they think they can sell boxes. You can't sell boxes. We've had this conversation. Um, I'm trying to. We were talking about last week. There's one big one that just got that. I think it was
right,
$25 million, and they're, you know,
right.
this week they announced that they're putting out 25 new locations. So, or
Oh,
20 new locations. So they're definitely spending the money. They just got invested.
right, right.
So good for them. But it was like a chain of malls that I never heard of. So having said that, um, I am excited about this. So I wasn't excited about that because it's not coming to PC, but I was excited about this. And this is Oculus. They're open registration for their Oculus Connect 6, and that's not what I was excited about. What I was excited about was that the people who make, well, I wouldn't say Apex Legends because I don't play Apex Legends, but Titanfall 2 and Titanfall 2 games I really liked,
Yeah,
especially Titanfall 2.
it's a
The
respawn.
Yeah, Respawn. The single
Yep.
player was awesome. Their new AAA first-person combat title will be playable. Will be playable at OC6. So I'm excited about that. I Did you play Titanfall 1 or 2?
I played two. Didn't play
Okay.
one.
Did you like what you played of it? Did you play any of the single player?
Yeah, I think my game save is like right at end game of single player, so it's like the last mission. So yeah, I've thoroughly enjoyed playing Titanfall 2.
I would love to play that game in the mech. in
Yeah, right.
VR. I think that would be just awesome. I mean, there are some mech games out there, Archangel and I think the other one's Vox Machina or Mechana. I which I didn't buy, but I think I would I just love the Titanfall universe. It's cheeky and I love the story there. Um, so that's cool. Do you think it will? I'm hoping it's in the Titanfall universe, but do you think it's going to be more of an Apex Legends thing?
I so and so they not meaning you, but they continuously throw that term around, like in the Titanfall universe. And like I've played a little bit of Apex Legends, but I'm like, I don't, other than saying it, like and then like by virtue of you saying it over and over and over again, you feel like you've rendered it true. Like there's a very like minor amount of like Easter eggy type stuff in Apex Legends that you know formulates its connection. Um, but to the Titanfall universe, but like I don't really know what the Titanfall universe is, so
Well, and I agree because I don't I get it like the backstories and stuff are linked somehow, but
right,
to me Titanfall is all about piloting a mech and it's a lot of fun.
right, right, and
Apex
I guess that's
Legends is a first person shooter. And so
right,
I'm
and I
kind of like which way are they going to go with this VR thing?
right, and that's why my thing is like either you build out a very thorough, robust amount of like mythology, and then you could say, okay, this is in the Titanfall universe, or you stop using that as a marketing term and go, okay, it's not Titanfall, like you said, right? To me, it's not Titanfall unless it has a mech in it,
Yeah.
right? That you can get in and pilot around. So yeah, I recognize that relationship, very loosely, and would do the same for anything that was a follow up.
Yeah. Well, I'll
If
tell
it's
you. Go ahead.
no, I'm just saying, if we're gonna say it's in the Titanfall universe or that then it needs to have mechs, right?
Yeah, I'm with you. It has to have Titans, right? So one game that did impress me that is a first-person shooter that's actually based on the original Special Forces IP um, is Special Force VR. And I'll tell you what, I watched this video for this game. This is a first-person shooter, right? This is a VR game, first-person shooter. Now I watched the video for this. Maybe I can pull it up. But this looked to me like Call of Duty. Like this seemed very polished and I don't know. I mean, I don't know. There's a lot of first person shooters out there, military first person shooters out there, but this one just looked very polished. Again, this is a game clip. This is their game clip, right? But I was pretty you know surprised. I didn't know this was in development, and it looks really sharp. So um, and it's coming out this fall. So if what I read was correctly, so a game to keep an eye on if you're into first-person tactical shooters.
Yep, absolutely.
So let's see what's next. Well, I'm going to throw a shout out to this game because I love my cross-buy games. And I picked this up hoping I might be able to play it with my granddaughter because I'm always trying to find something to play with her. My grandson and I play pretty much everything, but um, she's more into I think games like this. It's called Raccoon Lagoon, and there's a ship that goes down, and you have to help all the stranded animals. And you get to build gardens, you get to all this stuff. So um, it has crossplay, and it was fairly inexpensive. I think it was it 19.99 or 15.99 or but it's from the same people who did Brass Tactics and Defense Grid 2, right? Two
Okay.
really good games. So I just want to bring it up because we're always talking about games like the last one, a first-person shooter where you're blowing people up. So if you're looking for something for a younger crowd, and again, I don't know what the multiplayer is on this. I'm just throwing it out there. It's a brand new game. I actually picked it up, played it for about 5 minutes before something happened, and I got pulled away from it. But it's very cutesy, seems very easy to use, seems like it would be good for the younger crowd. So definitely something to check out if you have a little one. Don't quote me on any of the specs or whether it has multiplayer or not, please look it up yourself because just found out about this. And I picked it up because it had cross buy. So I figured I'd buy it for the Quest. So I get it on the Rift. Um, with that, what was after that? Oh, I also wanted. So now I'm promoting this game here called Paranormal Detective: Escape from the '80s. We talked about this. Was it last week? I can't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago or when it was, but the Kickstarter was successful. And so it's on Steam. This is the Steam page right now. And it's an $8 game, or it was at least on Kickstarter, it was an $8 game. And you have to escape from somebody's 1980s room with boom boxes speaking spells, you know, and whatnot. So check it out if you're interested in 80s nostalgia. What else do we have here, Sir Aga? Oh, I also wanted to throw out Carnage Chronicles is on sale. Now this is a game I know Downriver just picked it up. Several of the guys have it over at Live from the Oasis. This is developed by 3-person team, and they were just on Reddit this week saying not only promoting the sale, but also promoting the fact that they're still developing for this. They're still adding to it. Now this can be played single player or it can be played with up to 4 people on co-op. It's fun. It's actually it's probably the best looking dungeon crawler in VR that I've been in. Right, I got a lot of dungeon crawlers. The levels in this just look beautiful, just gorgeous. And they do some funny interactive things you can do too. So like if you get shot with an arrow and it sticks in you, you can actually pull it out and throw it back. Which I did to Ocelot because he shot an arrow at me, so I threw it at him. But you can do things like you can shoot little flying bugs out of the sky, and the graphics are just gorgeous. It kind of feels like you're when you're walking through the caves, it almost feels like you're going through like a experience at Walt Disney World, because everything's kind of
Okay.
glowing and neon, and it's fun. It has some deeper, I haven't gotten in, we just jump on and play. But there's a lot of
Mm-hmm.
mechanics where you have your inventory system. You can pull food, how you in MMOs or dungeon crawls, you use food to get your health back and whatnot, and potions. So they make that very easy to get to. And I don't know. I just wanted to throw it out there. I think it's on sale for $12, and it's very positive, mostly positive reviews. So anybody out there who is looking for, I can definitely recommend it. Um, we haven't finished it by any means. I don't know how long it takes to finish it, but it is a lot of fun to play with friends.
Very cool.
And one last thing I have is over at the Oculus store. I know I got in this conversation with this person over on Reddit. They just kept telling me that they don't have time to get free games. they're like, they're like, They're like, my time is valuable. I don't, and they spend like a 5 minutes explaining to me why they don't have time. I'm like, look, I understand what you're saying. Your time is valuable. I work 60 hours a week. I have a family. My time is valuable too. But look at
Right.
this is how long it takes. I come over here and I click purchase. That's it. We're talking 3 seconds. I don't need to think about it.
Right.
Um, this is a cute little game. It's only a couple dollar game, but it is free on Oculus for the Rift for the PC. So if I just wanted to throw that out there, if you just want to go sailing, I think it does support multiplayer with up to 3 people. So just a cute little game, and I love to share free stuff with the folks. So that was kind of a blitz there at the end. So other thoughts this week on VR?
No, not really.
I think we covered all the news. If anybody wants to watch me and Downriver play Star Trek Bridge Crew and the Borg. We almost survived the Borg. We
Oh,
almost did it.
nice.
He hadn't
Just the
played
two
in a
of you?
while. Yeah, he didn't. He
Okay.
hadn't played in a while. He was a little rusty. So we if we do it again in a couple weeks, we may do it. But it
Yeah.
was a little frantic there.
What ship? What ship did you guys take up against the Borg cube?
I think you have to do Next Generation to get that
Okay.
mission.
Okay. So
I
you can't.
think.
But you have to do Enterprise D.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So But it's not bad because the trick is you really have to listen to, like, you have to go get this tech. So your ship, you need to go get the tech they're researching. So they have all
Okay.
this tech in R&D, and so when they come after you, you almost kind of have to like hit them just to distract them, and then jump and go find all this tech.
Right. Right.
My understanding is after you find the tech, I don't know if it's 3 or 4 or 5 hops, you'll stand a chance of taking them out.
Okay. Okay.
But it's kind of hectic, but it's a lot of fun. Um, so you can see that over on the Live for the Aces channel. Of course, we link from this channel to that channel. And of course, we're playing No Man's Sky on Sunday, so you can find the Gamer Show link on this channel as well. But with that, any final words before we close up for the week there, Sir Aga?
No, no, I don't have anything else.
All right. Well, until next time, my friends, peace.